Hello, everybody. We got a battle group game coming your way that is narrated. Got 650 points on each side. Here you can see the table laid out. It's got a road going through the middle of it. It's in 15 mil scale. And we have on the far side the German forces and the British are moving in on the forefront right there. You can see them moving in. It is going to be basically you have an armored division moving in for the British versus the AfrikaKorps on the other side, 15th Panzer Division. So they're facing off. It's going to be an interesting little battle. The battle is laid out. Right now we have a new player on the other side. This is more or less a learning experience for him, trying to teach him how the rules work versus when we were playing Flames of War. So this is going to be how it's going to be laid out. All right. We have, you can see the forces, the British moved up. They have their Matildas there and some A9 tanks, cruiser tanks on the left side right there with some pack guns basically set up, some anti-tank guns. And here we have some mortar crews set up with some spotter on the hill. On both flanks we got the same situation where we have a spotter and some off-board artillery laid out, going to be picking some targets. Here we got the A9s are moved up, and in the far right there in the corner you can see, I think that's a Daimler scout car moving up along the road, just checking to see what's anything in the forefront. Here we have some Bren carrier moving up with some infantry on board, moving up behind the hill, and they're going to disgorge their infantry right there behind the hill. And, you know, again, the crest, just kind of hide back. Now, the Germans, they moved up. They took the hill, and they're moving up on the flank. They unloaded their 75 mil infantry gun. You can see it right there by the truck. And their pack gun is on the other side. They got a 50 mil pack gun. You can see it right there by the other truck, unloaded. And they're moving some of their Panzer IIIs down the road. So they have machine gun set up on the hill with infantry kind of dug in right there, looking for something to beat on. And then you got the Panzers moving up with a pack gun in support. And in the foreground, you can see it looks like they have a couple machine gun platoons set up, ready to unleash a lot of lead downrange. And on the far there, you got the Panzer IVs with their short-barreled 75 just moving along, looking for something to chomp on. But at the moment, they did take some pot shots at some the A9s and cruiser tanks, but at the moment they kind of missed when they moved on. And then we have the other. We got the half tracks there, the 251 half tracks, Hanomags. And then it's now the British turn. They did have some problems. They did take some, the half tracks unleashed on them and pinned down the two anti-tank guns that are up on the hill right there. And then the Panzers, when they moved in, they also shot at the anti-tank guns. Basically, they pinned them down with machine gun fire, did some suppressive fire. Instead of trying to kill them, they tried to suppress them, and they did a good job of it. And there's the British. They unloaded, and they moved their Bren carriers around and started shooting at the infantry up on the hill. And they did get a few suppressions on some of that infantry that's right there. They did try to suppress some of the other infantry, but didn't do any job. They just got a couple of the squads they suppressed. That's pretty much how it worked out. So, yeah, it worked out pretty good for them. Then the Germans moved up, and they turned and unleashed their two, their Panzer III platoon moved up and started shooting at some of the infantry and the Bren carriers, trying to take them out. And they did hit one of the Bren carriers, and the interesting thing is the other Bren carrier got hit, and it penetrated, but did no damage to it. Didn't even pin it, for that matter. They just rolled snake eyes. So it hit and went basically through. Then there's shots. One of the Panzer IVs hit the A9 in the front right there, and put a round completely through it and toasted it, torched it with his, I think he rode boxcars, and just blew it up. And then you can see how the Germans are kind of moving up. They do have a casualty in one of their machine gun platoons over there on both sides. As you can see, little rings of death on it when they got hit. Then they unleashed, they're trying to shoot, because they already have the infantry pinned in the anti-tank guns right there. So they're trying to kill them, and they did kill one of the crews that were there. They got some hits, but they did some saves too, hiding behind their gun shield. Then the British moved up and took their shots at the infantry on the hill across from them. They did pin down and do some damage against the infantry on the other side. You can see there they pinned some more troops and did a little bit of damage. So it worked out pretty good for them. Then the wonderful, interesting thing is that the FO unleashed a really good shot. You can see all the pin markers right there. The FOs targeted that area with all the machine guns, with mortar fire and artillery fire, and just basically that whole area became a bunch of pin markers with some casualties resulting from the artillery barrage. Now the British, they moved up. They moved their Matildas up right there and started machine gunning and trying to hit those 251 mag half tracks. Another A9, he moves up and takes a pot shot at one of the Panzer IVs right there with his 2-pounder and punched through and took it out with boxcars. So perfect storm, basically. Then the Germans, they moved their other Panzer IVs up on the flank right there. They're ready to set in ambush in case the British can move forward. And they're going to be looking for something to shoot when they come sneaking around. And the other Panzer IV rolls up, shoots at the A9 cruiser tank right in front of it, hits it, and fails to penetrate. Interesting thing. And then they moved their other some Panzer IIIs up, unleashed a bunch of shots into that forward Matilda, and all the shots just bounced off that Matilda. They waltzed with them, the waltzing Matildas. They just took it and grinned like, yeah, that's all you got. And then the other two Panzer IIIs unleashed some fire into the hilltop where all that infantry was and mowed down, unfortunately, a couple squads of infantry and the Vickers machine gun just got mowed off the field. And then they used their command capability and started removing pulled some chits out to unpin a bunch of their troops, and so they can be able to use them again. And you can see here the view of the Panzer IIIs as they shot at the 4 Matilda right there. And then I think it's going to be coming up on the British turn again, and they're going to be moving up. Yes. Yeah, you can see right there the shot of the Panzers taking out a bunch of infantry off the hill. And they did try put a 50 mil shot into one of those tanks, and then okay, here we go. We have the Matildas had leashed some shots into the 2 Panzer IIIs. Not a good day for them. Point blank range, basically, with the Matildas hit and just toasted them. And then this Panzer, or the A9, came up and hit the flank of the Panzer III in the side and took it out. That was not a good day for it. So it was like easy to penetrate the flank. And then the artillery barrage dropped in again. Since it was already dialed in, it hit the barrage on the whole area and basically saturated it. Did some more damage and pinned everybody that was unpinned, and killed some more troops. And it was not looking good for the German forces at the moment. And here you can see the burning Panzer IIIs. And there you can see that one Matilda in the far background. He took a long shot and hit one of those half tracks. Over there you can see it, very small area where you can see the half track burning. But that's where we called it. At that point, the game was like, okay, I think we learned enough about how to play the game with our initial game, learning how to do it. And it wasn't. It was actually still pretty close, except for the fact that most of the German forces were pinned at the moment, because the British did have the opportunity to do their artillery, get their artillery to land first and pinned a bunch of troops. So once you get into that circumstance in the game where most of your troops are pinned, you're going to spend pulling chits out trying to get everybody unpinned. And it doesn't really work too well in your advantage to have that happen. So you start really going downhill pretty quickly when it comes to your break point right there. And at the time we ended, I think the British had 7 break points, and they also had an airstrike that could come in at any time if they rolled a 5 or better, because the British were pulling the specialized chits out of the bag while the Germans were pulling 3s out. So I think it was, if I remember right, let's see, 9, 15, 17. Yeah, it was 17 to 6, I think, was the 17 break value. Both sides had 50 to 52. The British had 52 break points, and the Germans had 50. So it was pretty well matched when that came aspect of the game. But once you start getting everything pinned and you're starting to pull chits out to get everybody to rally, then it's not in your favor at all. So you're getting, basically the momentum is in the other guy's wheelhouse. So hope you guys like this one. Hopefully we'll get some more of these type of battles coming in soon, and we'll see you in the next one. Battlegroup out.